fans, welcome to Purple Rain Sports, rulers of the airway. We are the one and only podcast featuring Wildcat Sports. I am your host, La Voz de los Gatos, BDE 76. Joining me as always, our producer slash co-host, Mr. Albert Sosa. Wildcat Insiders, Mr. Sam Castro, Mr. Alan Sanchez, and taking us back to the old school. Y'all know his name, y'all know his number 51, Brian Pettis. Last but not least, providing technical support, Double J. Welcome to Purple Rain Sports, Season 4, Episode 1, coming to you live from Frank Carter Stadium inside the Wildcat Fieldhouse. Joining us for the first podcast of the season, head coach, athletic director, Mr. Kyle Abshire.
Woo. Welcome, Coach. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you guys for having me. Yep.
So before we get started, we want to give a little shout out to the sponsors, Purple Rain Sports. We wouldn't be able to do much if we didn't have certain people that would helping us out with a little bit of money. Dr. Alfonso Loveno with Loveno Healthcare, Margie Bars, Barbecue, the best barbecue in town. Okay, we have a new sponsor this year, Matthew Signs.
Money Graphic Designs.
Money Graphic Designs.
You see a shirt right here?
We also have the best competition barbecue team, Smoking D's Barbecue.
D's Barbecue. Man, to meet some good meat last year.
Man, that was some real good food.
And we also want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to Coach Abshire for letting us be here in the Wildcat
On a Sunday afternoon.
Fieldhouse.
He's a busy
This
man.
just got
We're
through
watching
with his
video.
coaches meeting,
Yep.
taking time of his day to introduce himself and what he has in store for this season. We're all looking forward to it. This is everybody's time of the year that we all look forward to. Wildcat football, baby. That's what it's all about. Coach, I don't know if you would just want to dive into it.
Well, we're missing one of our crew, Mr. Alan Sanchez. He couldn't be here. He had a daughter moving into college, so he's out there helping her out. So
Shout out to all the kids going back to school this semester. Good
Yeah.
luck. Hang in there, make us proud. And so we can get started, Coach Abshire, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? Just a quick introductory as far as kind of who you are, what you're all about, stuff like that.
Okay, my name's Kyle Abshire. I got here, took over am I close enough? Took over here on February the 4th, so I've been here for just about 6 months. Most recently, I was at South Garland High School as a defense coordinator there. Most of my time has been spent in Forney, Texas. That's where I'm from, and I coached there for several years. Moved here with my wife, Holly, who's also here on staff as a athletic trainer. We moved down here, and like I said, she's finished her school year up there, so she's only been living here for a couple of months, and that was kind of tough. But we're glad to have her here. She's been a tremendous help for us as we're trying to get started, and like I said, just really excited to be here and excited for what we have in store.
that's great. That's great. Like you said, Coach, you're from Forney, Texas. I kind of did my research on you. I was like, you could call it stalking, I don't know, but with the internet these days, you can find anybody.
Exactly.
So I found your life story. No, I'm just kidding. I know you graduated class of '98 from Forney, Texas.
Absolutely,
And you
yes,
coached
sir.
there as well. Being from Forney, Texas, what are some values you learned there that you can bring here to Carrizo Springs to help out the team?
Well, for one, I was really fortunate to go to Forney when I did. I moved, actually, I was from Dallas, and we moved to Arizona when I was 9, and we moved back right before my freshman year. And I was really lucky. The coaching staff there was just top-notch. Coach Maxfield was my head coach. He won 250 games.
Whoa.
So he was a great coach, and there were several coaches on that staff that had become head coaches. Our offensive coordinator became a head coach. He won 100 games. Our defense coordinator became the head coach at Forney. He won about 100 games there. And then one of our position coaches his name was Terry Gamble. He's now the head coach at Allen High School. So I was fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really good coaches, really who knew the game, but more than anything, they knew about building relationships with kids and knew about instilling values and coaching for a player's entire life. And I think that everything that I am as a person is because we moved to Forney. I tell our kids all the time that whenever hard things come in my life, the things that get me through it are the lessons that I was taught by my high school coaches.
Yes, sir.
About a month after taking this job, my mother passed away. And so, that's always tough if you've gone through that. I feel for you and everything. But, the part that made that stuff easier was the lessons they taught me about hard work and supporting your family and it just sort of, made me the kind of person I am. And so, I think that everything I am kind of comes directly from that.
Sure.
And again, we were a program that we were a successful, a consistent winner. We didn't always necessarily have the best talent, but we all worked hard. Football was very important. It was a big deal to be at practice every day. We took pride in our discipline and our approach to everything. You know, it was a team concept first. Everything was about the team, the team, the team. So I think all that reflects on me and how I coach and the program that we want to build here.
There you go. Look, people don't know Forney's around Dallas. It's kind of northeast Dallas, I guess.
It's just southeast of Dallas. It's about 15, 20 miles southeast of Dallas. And right now, it is a 5A school now. And now it's actually
broken into two. Yeah.
It has 2 5A schools, so it's grown tremendously. When
North
I was
Forney,
there,
definitely.
when I was at school there, we had about 300. Well, we had 500 kids, I believe, in the school, and I graduated class of about 100. So I mean, it's grown tremendously. You know, when I went to school there, it was a lot like Carrizo. It was a small town where everybody knew everybody. You couldn't really do anything, and people didn't know and didn't call you. Hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? Going to church on Sunday was a big deal. If we won, everybody claps on the back, and man, we're glad to see you. If you lost, you kind of snuck in the back row. You know, it was that kind of a town where football was the thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think it has a lot in common with how Carrizo's.
Yeah, and if you know the Metroplex, I mean, Dallas-Fort Worth, I mean, you're talking football competition all over. I mean, so
Absolutely.
you got to be top notch to survive over there. So that's some value that can help us here. Who next, number 2?
Coach, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
With social media nowadays being so prevalent, what are some of the negative effects that you see that it may have on the athletes or on the program?
I think the biggest thing that's negative with social media is the expectations. I think that people, the thing about social media is you only put the good stuff out there. Nobody ever says, well, I had a bad day today, and I did this, this, and this, and these things went wrong. All that we see is the positives. So it kind of builds a false sense of how the world should work. One of our biggest problems in coaching, and not here necessarily, but everywhere, is kids expect everything to happen now. They expect it to happen fast. So if you're a freshman and you're on varsity, you're upset. If you're a sophomore and you're on varsity, you want to quit. And so it's really changed the expectations of what kids, of how the world works. It's made it a lot harder for people to understand the value of hard work and the value of paying your dues and putting in the time and sticking to a process. And
Instant gratification.
Yeah, it's instant gratification, exactly. And that's all the technology that we deal with is, and I'm guilty of it too. I love Amazon. I'll order, if I want something, I want it now. And so it's that same kind of a concept. And it's made it harder to get kids to understand that sometimes you have to work and you have to pay your dues and put your time in to get the things that you want. It doesn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, and nothing worth having ever is. And so that's the biggest negative is it's just changed the perception of, if I don't have this right now, there's something wrong, and there's something wrong with the situation. And so it's kind of made people more impatient. So that's kind of, in my line of work, that's the biggest thing to deal with is people to understand that it's just because that kid over there is getting these things doesn't mean it's not a direct correlation. And there's nothing wrong for you not to get those things.
Right.
If you're a sophomore and you're on JV, there's nothing wrong with that. We need to pay our dues, and we need to get better, and we need to focus on us improving every day, not what others' expectations are for us.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of the biggest thing I think that's changed.
I think that goes, you were talking about where you grew up and how it's exactly the way it is here in Carrizo. Being instant gratification, I think everybody wants the program to turn around from one year to the next. And I think, unfortunately, it hasn't gone Carrizo's way in the last 15, probably 20 years. But, hopefully you coming in and your small town beliefs and the way you grew up and your coaching style will help turn the community back the way it was.
Well, and believe me, no one wants it to turn faster than me and sooner than me. It's nothing but good for me for us to win. The thing that if I had a message to give to people, I would say the thing that we're doing now is we're trying to put building blocks in place to where we're not just going to turn it around quickly, we're going to turn it around well in the right way.
Right.
I told Dr. Gonzalez and the folks who interviewed me, I didn't come here for a 1-year job or a 2-year job. I'm here to build a program that can last and stand the test of time. And the thing to me, one of my biggest goals is when the time comes, or if the time comes I do move on, I want what we put in place to last and to carry over and continue. Again, the guy I played for, Coach Maxfield, when he left Forney, we won for another 15 years after he left. So all the things he put in place we just continued to do what he did, and so it just kept on winning and kept on growing. Now, at the same time, that doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Hopefully it does. Hopefully we get it turned and we win a lot of games and things are awesome. But again, nothing worth having is a quick fix. You have to put in the time and you have to spend the time to build it the right way. I don't think any of us want to live in a house that got put up yesterday. Yeah. There's a process that has to go along to make sure that house is correct, so to make sure it stands up to the storms and the weather and all that stuff.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're in the process of doing right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In team personnel, both staff-wise and students that graduate, will the fans see a change in either offensive or defensive strategy or schemes?
Well, I think one of the strengths I have as a coach is we always try to scheme everything to fit the players that we have. So we come in with a broad outline of here's what we're trying to get done, here's what we want to do. But as we go through, if certain things don't fit the kids that we have, we change. If other things would fit better, we change that. I was a defense coordinator for about 18 years, and we built a system of defense that some years we would be an odd front defense, and the next year we would be an even front. And we would do that from game to game and sometimes series to series. Mm-hmm. So I think the likelihood of there being change is very high. But again, that's not, I don't mean that a reflection of in any way on anything else that was happening before, but that's just sort of a tenet of my coaching philosophy. Yes, is if it's working, great, we're going to keep on going, and if it doesn't work, we're going to tweak and change it. So I think the fans and you guys are liable to see something different from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4. Maybe even from quarter 1 to quarter 2 to quarter 3. So, and like I said, I think we have to have the coaching is about writing that line between having a set system of methods of what you're doing and a techniques of what you're teaching, but at the same time being adaptable enough to fit the kids. Yeah, it doesn't do any good for me to come in and say, well, we're going to run this offense no matter what if it doesn't fit. And the same thing defensively. And so that's what I think that's a strength of us as a coaching staff and me as an individual is we're going to make sure the first thing we did when we met this morning was we went through the list of kids and, hey, what does this kid do well? What does he do poorly? Where are his strengths and what are his issues? And so we're always trying to find our best 11 guys and put them on the field in a way that lets them be successful.
And you bring up a good point when you mentioned that, because I think that might be part of the problem that we've had in the last few years was, the system that was being put in place and, was like, this is what we're going to run.
Right.
And this is how we're going to do it no matter what. But I don't think they put a lot of thought, and maybe they did. Maybe they just didn't work it out as the way it could have been, but they didn't put a lot of thought into, do we have the kids to run this type of offense or this kind of defense, And it almost seemed like when it wasn't working, that maybe there weren't any or adjustments being made to kind of, what else can we do to try to make it work, But with you saying that, I think it's gonna be pretty obvious that we might be able to see some changes now as far as what's happening in the field. And I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off that because I went to the scrimmage. I've been to each scrimmage, like the inter squad and then the one in San Antonio, and I saw a lot of difference in the way things were being run. And I was telling the guys, hey, they're throwing the ball. We didn't see a lot of throwing the ball, in the last few years. Hey, they're throwing the ball, and it was, for me, it was a lot different, but it's also fun to watch. Of course, you want to be more successful, but it's a first scrimmage, and then we're playing a big ass school. Excuse my language, but I think it was great. So piggybacking off of that, Coach, what are some of the things you saw, have you seen, not only from yesterday's scrimmage, but from the time you started here with 2-a-days and up to date, that you think, it looked like it's going to work out really well, maybe something that needs to be worked on a little bit more. What are you thinking, Coach?
Well, the first thing that we've been really happy with is the turnout of the kids and effort and the work that they put in. From the first day, we sort of came in and said, this is the way that we're going to do things, this is the way that we're going to go about our business. And just like in any new situation, there's always a little bit of pushback, a little bit of, well, we're not sure. But from the time that the summer began, we made it clear to the kids that the summer program was really important. That, putting in the time and spending time in the weight room and running and getting in condition and getting ready to play and getting prepared for the season was important. And we set a goal we wanted everybody to make 18 workouts over the summer, which it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but, if you're a kid and you're in summer vacation, it's a big deal to put that time in. In the first day, my new defense coordinator, we were sitting outside the weight room, and he asked me how many kids I thought we'd have. I said, man, I'll be happy if we have 10. Well, we had 100. So, every day for our first 3 weeks of our program, we had 100 kids up here working out, from 7th grade up to 12th grade. So we've been really happy with the mindset that they brought and the work that they're willing to put in. And I think that's one issue here that we're not going to have is the kids are willing to do the work. And that's an issue that isn't there. The biggest thing that we need to do now is we need to have more kids. One of our biggest tenets of our program is we say all the time, so what now? Whatever has just taken place doesn't matter. It's what's about to take place that's most important. And that's kind of where we need to get to be, where we need to embrace that a little bit more. We need more people that are going to do the hard things when it's hard. And we need more people who are going to not be affected by the outside circumstances. And like you said, we scrimmaged a 6A team, and they had a lot of players, and they were big, and they were fast, and they were physical. And some of us kind of let that affect us and let that change the way that we played the game. I saw a lot of kids who did not let that affect them. I thought, from a defense perspective, I thought we did a great job of flying around and competing and getting after it. And we weren't really daunted. We weren't really affected by that. But, again, it's part of the process of getting them to believe in the one step at a time, one play at a time. We want to play every play like it has a history and life of its own. That to me, a perfect game is every single play is played with the same intensity, the same fire, the same fight, the same execution, whether the score is 70-0 for you or against you. And so that's kind of where we're still trying to get to as a foundation of the program is no matter what, no matter when, no matter who, let's bring the same effort, let's bring the same intensity, and let's just do the best that we can do. Obviously, for first scrimmage, there's tons of things with execution and all that. But to be honest, that's sort of on the back burner. Is we're just trying to get that competitive fire and that culture of wanting to fight and wanting to battle and put in work with the teammates. That's the biggest thing that we're trying to stress right now. And I think again, over time, we're going to correct all the technical issues, all that stuff. That can be fixed. It's the fight that matters, So like I said, I think we're kind of a mixed bag right now. There's some that are in and some that are battling, and there's some that are sort of waiting to see how it goes, and that's sort of what we have to correct. But overall, I think everything has been. I think we're definitely heading in the positive direction. We're definitely on the upturn, and like I said, everything that we've been asked to do, the kids have been asked to do, they've done it. We're showing up, to the morning practices, to the evening practices. We have a lot of positives going right now. And again, I think as we go through and get more comfortable with what we're doing, I think that'll kind of bear itself out in the results.
Yeah, and I think that's what scrimmages are for. Scrimmages are for making the mistakes, or not to make the mistakes, but that's where if you make mistakes, you can learn from them, and then you get into the regular season games and you'll play better.
And I told the kids that Saturday, there's no such thing as a mistake. When the lights are on and we're in competition, the mistakes are mine. Y'all just go and let it rip and go. And it's sort of up to me to own the mistakes and to fix those things. And the thing we want from the kids is, like I said, and we did a lot of things from a scheme perspective. We just want to see how it looks. It's a huge difference when you have a game that you've got film and you've prepared and you have the game plan. That's a huge difference in how that's going to look and what that's going to be, as opposed to we just kind of showed up and let's just run some stuff. And I know that doesn't sound very professional, but that's really what you do in a scrimmage. You just sort of have a list of things. We want to see these schemes and these things, and can this kid catch that ball? And can we make that throw? Can we block this or can we do that? And it really doesn't have anything to do with the opponent. It's just what can we do? And so, like I said, I think you'll see a big difference as we go along as we sort of start to fine-tune things in and lock things into here's what we are and here's what we're about. And like I said, the scrimmages are not about that. The scrimmages are about let's just kind of see where we're at. What can we do? What
gauge? You got a low gauge to see where.
Right.
So on those two scrimmages that we've had, nobody wants to see anything like that. But there was no injuries. Everybody's in good health.
So far, we've
Knock
had a
on
couple.
wood, I'm just-
Yeah, exactly right.
Little tweaks here and there.
We've had a couple bumps and bruises, but so far everybody's in good health and everything's been good.
That's
on
good
that
because normally you're used to going through practice and hey, nobody's going full throttle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or as far as
90%,
contact wise.
Right.
And now you're going against a bigger school, a 6A school, and we were talking about that earlier. That when you get out, you like me, I'm a big guy, and I go somewhere else like to a bigger town, and there's always bigger guys.
Yes.
And like we're not even competition now. Tell my wife like, God dang,
Yeah.
like the size of people depending on where you go is totally different. You go here, you go to go to Uvalde, they're not like that, but you go to San Antonio and you'll be like, dang. So
Hey, you know
in
what you said? You said
He said it right.
I didn't say the whole thing, and you're gonna coach. We're gonna start off, and we're gonna teach you real quick.
Right.
I got a new job. I work in Uvalde, but I go around.
He takes a long way.
I don't even like to say it. They're freaking out that I said the name.
Right.
I'm old school. I'm hardcore.
He calls it the team from the north.
I
Yeah,
love it.
who like whenever they're playing somebody, I'm going against them every time.
Right. I understand.
I don't care if their record is whatever, and I'm always going for the other team.
Believe me, I understand. No one appreciates a ride without
Okay,
God, believe me.
so
Well, here's the thing. I'm from Forney. Well, for 2 years, so we worked together for 2 years. Me and my wife did. She's over there. We were at the same school at Forney High School. After 2 years, she was the assistant trainer, and they offered her the job to be the head trainer at our rival, at North Forney. And that was a tough. Well, that was tough. We actually had to play each other, and I mean, again, it was. But again, you can ask her. Nobody appreciates a good rival like me. I hate.
She was giving out your secrets. That's what
yeah.
she was doing.
Well, I hope it didn't help him. So she did, but anyways, yeah, we.
well, we might as well introduce the better half
Exactly
of the
right.
Abshire.
Exactly
So we're gonna go ahead and put Miss Abshire on the spot here, ma'am. If you'd like to just introduce yourself, very briefly, say hello to the listeners out there.
I could have had some warning on this. I was not prepared for this.
If you're in the room, you got to be on screen.
I'm only here so I don't get fined. I'm Holly Abshire. I am his better half for sure.
No doubt.
He came out to our last game against Forney last year, and no offense, Randy, if you're watching this, but we lost that game, and North Forney did, and he was on the sideline because it was his bye week, and he said, "Wow, Forney has never lost with
Forney's
me on the field."
undefeated in that game.
That was really rude to
Forney's
rub
never
that in, and but
Hey, we don't lose when we play the north side. I'm not gonna tell you, we don't do it.
we're pretty competitive by nature, the two of us. So we compete a lot at home, and we'll compete on the field, and it's a good time.
So, Ms. Abshire, just give us an idea of what your role is when it comes to, being here in
Oh no!
Carrizo Springs. You see, you got me, Ernest. You
Guys,
got me- you got
would
me
like to
twisted.
announce that this is Sam's last episode.
Last episode. Nice.
He had
nice
a good
working with you,
run,
Sam.
good 4-year
Here
run.
in Carrizo Springs, and just give us an idea of what it is that you would do for the team and for the town.
All right. Well, like you said, I'm the athletic trainer. I'm the new athletic trainer. So Coach Miller's still here, and I'm just helping with him. And it's kind of unique for me being an athletic trainer and being the head coach's wife, because it's kind of, I'm already very emotionally attached to all my teams. Like I always feel like the mom of the team, and it's already emotional. And then you add in a whole other aspect now, so it's like it's not only my family, but it's my family. And so
That's true.
I told the moms, we had Moms 101, and I told them, like, you'll never have to doubt the fact that those kids are mine. Like, I will treat them as my own. He will treat them as his own. Like, if we were raising children, that's what we're here for. So my role is to keep your boy safe and to make sure he does what's right all the time. And yeah, like he said after the scrimmage, he said, I kept looking, like I kept kind of making eye contact at some point with you, and I thought, am I doing something wrong? And I was like, no.
Well, she's just a good, you go through a scrimmage, and again, they're bigger and they're faster, and we're not doing as well as we like, and so it's kind of easy to kind of get frustrated. And you just kind of catch her eye, and it's just a reminder to keep the main thing the main thing. It's about the kids, it's about growing, and it's about getting better, and not, it kind of keeps your frustration level in check. And she's not saying this, but she is an athletic trainer. She helps with injuries and injury prevention, stuff like that. But she does a whole lot of other things too. She'll help with our nutrition plans. She heads up a lot of our social media stuff that we do as far as our Twitter page.
That's true. We've seen that. Yeah. I saw
Follow
that.
us on Twitter there.
If
She'll
it has
do all that.
emojis, that's me.
Right. So she handles a lot of that stuff and a whole lot more.
That's
that,
great.
goes
That's
unnoticed and unseen a lot of times.
With that being said, if you want to give the new Twitter address,
Oh, yeah. Follow
Twitter
us,
name,
at Carrizo Wildcats.
At Carrizo Wildcat. That's what it is.
So
On Twitter. Check us out.
we have over 200 followers already, and we launched it like 3 weeks ago. So I feel
Wow.
like it's,
You're almost close to Purple Rain Sports. You're almost there. But we've been here 4 years. We've been doing this 4 years, so we got a lot of followers.
So before we get to the last crazy question, one thing I did wanted to mention or even ask Coach about was changes. You talked about changes. There's a lot of coaching staff changes, and one of the I have an insider. One of my son is one of the players on your team, and one of the things that he mentioned to me was that Dad, and we saw it a lot last year, but you know what? Last year's last year, but he's like, Dad, there's a lot of chemistry between the coaches here. And I could see there's a lot of fire out there on the field from the coaches, not in a negative manner, in a positive manner. Like whoever the defensive coach is,
Yes, sir.
he's got a lot of fire.
Absolutely.
well, with that being
he is
said,
down. He
with
is
that
down.
being said, before we head to our break, if Coach would like to, I don't know if they're still here. I know a lot of them left, but if he would like to say their name and their
if you
title.
Introduce them to us, Coach.
Absolutely.
So everybody
Well,
can know. These are the people
and
we're going to be seeing out there on the
The
field
guy
with
that you're
our
talking about
boys.
is our new defense coordinator. His name is Harley Peer, and he played for me. I coached him when he was in high school, and he's worked for me at He worked for me at Commerce High School and at Forney, and so I've known him for years, and like I said, I think that's extremely important. We're about to be locked into this submarine for 6 or 7 months, up here 7 days a week, and working all kinds of crazy hours.
Yep.
And so that's part of the evaluation as you go to hiring coaches and keeping people here or moving people there is to make sure that the chemistry works. Because you can't have one thing, and I tell the coaches this all the time. The first thing we talk about is loyalty. We want to be loyal to the program, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be and tell me yes all the time. And yes, I don't want yes men, but I want to know that what gets discussed in this room and this building stays here. I don't want people that are going to go out to the town and say, well, Abshire's want to do this, and I think it's stupid. Once we leave the building, it's our decision. We all own it as a program. And I told the guys at the first meeting that we had, there's not a single jerk in the bunch. There's not a single person on this coaching staff that I wouldn't want to come and hang out at my house or would feel uncomfortable hanging out at their houses, and I think I take that as a compliment, but again, it's part of the design that we want to have people that are good folks, that are good people, that care about kids, that care about building relationships, and that, like I said, that you enjoy spending your time with. So I think that's an important part of building that staff.
That's kind of what we are, except for Sam. We kind of like
Right.
Sam.
Well, right now,
yeah,
that's gonna be
so-
a problem. So
He just shows
can't
up.
believe
He
I-
just
I
shows up
can't
once in a
believe I
while,
said
so
that. Oh my
I gotta put
God.
him on.
Man, Sam,
It's
first
because I got
episode
pulled
of the
over by the
season.
police and on the way over here, man.
Okay, we're already starting out bad. We got to stop saying that name. Like, let's just
He's just throwing it around.
Yeah, but you said it
just
first.
say you got stopped in Zavala County.
Ernest said it first, so
I just said the first name. You said the whole name.
Oh,
well, I mean, we've made a few changes. I'm afraid that I'll miss somebody, but the two that I know of that have made a big impact for me, our defense coordinator is Harley Peer. He's coming from White Wright, Texas, where he was the defense coordinator there. He was the head track coach. He was just named the Texoma Land Track Coach of the Year for last year. He's been he'll be our powerlifting coach here. He's won regional championships with girls powerlifting. He's taken multiple athletes to state. So I mean, he's got a rich background there. And then our offensive coordinator is also our head baseball coach, Chad Kinney. He's coming from San Angelo Lakeview. He's originally from Wills Point, which actually me and Coach Kinney did not know each other from before I interviewed him for this job. But I actually just moved. The town we lived in when we moved here was Wills Point. So it's just kind of one of those weird coincidences that we kind of grew up about 30 miles from each other and didn't know it. But again, he's been at Lakeview. He's been a college baseball coach for several years. He's won conference championships at the collegiate level as a baseball coach. He's been a head baseball coach in high school for several years. So he brings a lot of experience there. And like I said, like you guys said, I think we three. I knew Harley from before, and I knew we would get along. And I knew what kind of job he would do. But Coach Kinney has kind of come in and matched that same intensity and that same fire. But at the same time, it's a fire that shows that we care, I think, but also I think the three of us do, or those two at least, I won't speak for myself, do a good job of making sure that the kids know that they care and know that you're going to get coached hard, but it's from a place of love and a place of us caring about you and wanting you to be your best. So they've done a great job so far.
You also have some returning staff.
Absolutely. I'm going to go the oldest first maybe. Coach Rojas is back. He's coaching our quarterbacks. He's also our head basketball coach, and he's been here for quite a while, and he's had success in everything he does, and we're excited to have him. I'm trying to think. Coach Montello has come over. Carlos Montello, who's a Carrizo guy, and he's coming back home. He's going to be our linebackers coach and coach softball. Let's see, it's Kenny, then Rojas, then so Coach Fennell is back. He was here last year as an assistant baseball coach and coached the secondaries, and he's returned in that same capacity. Coach Tony Sanchez has been here for a while. I think he's a Carrizo guy also. He's coaching our defensive line. He's a wizard with the technology. He's a guy that you ask him, hey, Coach, how many of these do we have? And he comes back 5 minutes later with a spreadsheet and a whole book of things that he's great at that stuff. Coach Jesse Rodriguez, who I know is a Carrizo legend, I've heard. He's back his first year of coaching. He's coaching our receivers. He's going to help us with basketball at the high school level and junior high track. And then who's just in that front desk? I'm thinking of it in the coach's office. I'm thinking of how it goes. Oh, Coach Branham he's our welding teacher, and he's helping with the offensive line, and he's going to help at the junior high. And he's again another guy that's kind of a jack of all trades. There's nothing he can't do and nothing he can't fix. We got Coach Martinez. He's been around for a while. He's going to help us coach with our freshmen. Coach Diaz has been here for a while. He's coaching with the middle school, and he teaches and coaches the middle school. Coach Venegas is another guy that's a technology mastermind. He heads up all of our filmers to make sure we have film for practices and games and all that kind of thing.
I saw one of the films he made on Twitter. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, he's got a whole film thing going on. He made we had the headshots of the day. We had the green screen, and he did a whole film of that.
Wow.
And
Nice.
it's like I said, I think we've got a good group of guys in there that does a good job.
All right, guys, with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. Coach, we're all going to get some water. We're going to go see the trainer now, see if there's any injuries from that first segment. Guys, stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to PRS Season 4, Episode 1. Back from the break, guys. I just want to welcome everybody and wish all of our listeners. We want to see everybody come out this season, and we wish Coach Abshire and his wife and the whole new coaching staff and the coaching staff that has been here, the best of luck, and we look forward to seeing everybody out there. And we're going to go ahead and jump into our plans for the upcoming podcast, and those are our loyal listeners know that we do the stinky pick of the week, and right now it's still in the preseason games, so we're really not going to work on those, and we're just going to talk about those, and we've decided that we're going to go ahead and stick with the pie to the face. That's a easy way to do it instead of doing the exercise, because I'm not going to lie, I kind of was sore after a couple of weeks where
So it doesn't matter,
doing
whatever
push-ups and all that kind of stuff, and
whatever you guys want to do. I mean, I don't have to worry. I'm not going to be last ever. So it's whatever y'all are going to get. So if y'all want to get pies or push-ups, whatever y'all want to do.
we've already discussed why you would win. We've already talked about that.
So anyway, so we're going to do it again. And one of our sponsors, Cruiser Springs Jabalin, we post the pics on there. We get the fans to join in. And last year, I think we had 44 fans at
Yes,
one point. Loyal fans that would pick every week, up to 44 fans. So hopefully we'll have as many this year.
Yeah, so we invite everybody out there, and we challenge everybody out there to not only go against us, but other people in the community that are actually, some of them did really well last year.
Right, and we're proud to announce that right now we're doing our first episode in a place where it should start off, Frank Carter Stadium inside the locker room, but we are pleased to announce that we will be doing our upcoming podcast throughout the season at 5Ds that's going to be sponsoring it. So we encourage everybody, we invite everybody to join us for the live recording. So you hear us on your way to work or in your spare time or whatever, but it's not the same to go out and actually see it happening. So we invite you. We're going to put it on social media where the time, and we already know the place is going to be at 5D. So get your questions ready, get your thinking caps on, so you can go out there and ask us questions, have a couple of drinks, or try that tasty food over there. And I'm a big fan of the Buffalo Burger, and ask for the Wildcat special there. I know they're there.
Well, that's one of the things that we want to do different with this season is actually have a more interactive session with the people in the crowd. Hopefully our technology guys can get it to where they can actually hear them in the recording and not just us when they're in the crowd.
Right.
So like you said, get your questions ready. We can get, a little bit of participation from the.
We work with kids. This is a high school show, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
gotta
family
be clean.
show.
Yeah,
so
we
keep it clean.
want it to be clean.
And it's recorded.
Well,
so
I'm
we'll
gonna make a bold prediction. I think normally we do the show about an hour. I'm gonna say that the first 30 minutes are gonna be the PG, because I think I think they're gonna have a happy hour, if you know what I mean, happy hour. So the questions are going to become a little bit more interesting. No, just
keep the questions clean and the beers cold, and I think everything will be all right.
So in accordance with that, with Stinky Pick of the Week, Coach, I have a crazy question. If you were in a fantasy football league, who would be the first player you would pick?
I was thinking about that. I'm not a great fantasy football player by any means, but the best player that I can think of I would take I just forgot his name, the quarterback for the Chiefs.
Oh, Patrick
Pat
Mahomes.
Patrick
I would
Mahomes.
take Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, yep.
He's going to get you the most. He's going to throw it. He's going to run around.
you would get Patrick Mahomes your first pick.
Why
Like
not?
let's just say that we were all here on the fantasy team, and you drew number one. You're telling me right now that you would pick Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback?
I did. I did in my draft this week. I picked Patrick Mahomes first. Yes, sir. He's going to get you a lot of points.
Come on, son.
He's going to get you a lot. Now, mind you, Coach Abshire told us that he's a Steelers fan. Sadly, he's a Steelers fan.
Exactly.
He's not
Yes.
a Texans fan, which he should be, but he's a Steelers
Guess
fan.
what? We're in the steel curtain now, baby.
So I'm surprised he didn't pick Big Ben or James Conner
I
or
found every
Le'Veon
time-
Bell. Oh, wait. Le'Veon.
Le'Veon who?
You say that, but we keep winning. It's
Oh,
okay.
that's true.
All those guys come and go. But
James Conner's actually pretty good.
But the pride never graduates. That's the same thing with
It's the
Steelers.
scheme. They put James Conner in there, and he took off, man.
Exactly right.
That's what you can join on if you want to join the team.
No.
Plenty of room in the bandwagon. Plenty of room in the bandwagon.
So Patrick
Come on
Mahomes.
in.
So let's get into the upcoming scrimmage, Coach. What are we looking at? What are we talking about here today?
Well, the first thing is both scrimmages this year had to be replaced late. So there's a little, that's kind of explains some of it. It wasn't by design that we scrimmaged a 6-day school with our first one by any means. Eagle Pass decided to have spring ball, so we had to replace that scrimmage there. And then I got a call about a month ago that our other team who we were slated to scrimmage was wanting to go a different direction also. So we've arranged 2 scrimmages actually this weekend. The first one, our varsity kids will be going to San Antonio to scrimmage St. John Paul II, which is a smaller private Catholic school in San Antonio. From what I understand, they're going to be more of a wing tee type of attack offensively, and so it'll be a different challenge for us as far as, last week MacArthur was more spread, more wide open, and all that kind of thing. So it kind of gives us a different challenge defensively. And then our younger guys, our freshmen and our varsity guys, will be scrimmaging Bruni out here Saturday morning. So if you can't make it to San Antonio, certainly come up and watch our younger guys get after here. And again, just because of the lateness of the changes, we kind of had to pick up where we could. But it's important to us that our kids get an opportunity to compete. So we were able to find a couple good opponents. I think that will give us a chance to work on some things and to kind of get to it closer to where we are. But we're excited about the opportunity for both for sure.
Real quick question. I know usually, the way it is the 7th and 8th graders play their games after, obviously when school starts.
Yes, sir.
So is there going to be a freshman team, a JV team, and a varsity team?
That's the plan right now.
Okay.
Right now we have, as of this moment, we had 22 freshmen show up that went Saturday, I believe, and then we have a group of JV kids that are a mix of juniors that will be down and sophomores that will be up, and we may take a couple freshmen along and combine them. But again, I think kids get better when they play. So
Right.
we're going to do everything we can to have 3 teams.
That's
so
great.
That everybody's getting
We haven't had
everybody
that.
gets.
We haven't had that in a while.
Well, it's the plan now. It all depends on how everything goes, the injuries and all that stuff.
Do you anticipate maybe one school? Unfortunately, I don't know why, but it has always happened, and I don't even get me started on that. But usually, whenever you have 2-a-days that happen, you get your hardcore guys that's what they live for. Football only comes around a certain time of the year, and that's what we look forward to. So these guys that are the guys that are ready to play, they come out to 2-a-days. They come the spring practices or the summer workouts. Do you anticipate once school starts that you're going to have more kids come in once they kind of listen to the guys or they talk to the guys they haven't seen, and these guys are chirping about, man, how excited they are, and would you allow guys that didn't go through 2-a-days to come on and join the team?
Well, I know we have several kids who made arrangements before. They told me before, in the summertime that for family commitments and work and stuff like that, they're unable to come to 2 days. So we've got 4 or 5 that are in that boat that have already made pre-arrangements. Right now, it's my first year, so we pretty much had an open door policy about everybody gets a fresh start, everybody gets a clean slate. The varsity group is a little bit different. Everybody has to, we've changed our helmets to purple. And so right now you have to earn the purple helmet. Anybody who wants to come and be part of the program is welcome, and they can have a white helmet, and they can have an opportunity. But as far as getting in the varsity room and getting, the purple helmet on, that's more of a thing that's being earned. So, again, there is a price to be paid, and there's an interest of fairness and all that stuff. But at the same time, we're not gonna. And again, we want to have 3 teams, so we don't want to punish these 11 or 12 guys over here, and they don't get to have their JV team because I didn't let a kid come out.
Right.
Now there is, like I said, these guys have worked all summer and they've put a lot of time and effort in. So the guys who come in late are going to have some time and effort to put in also. So it's not a free ride, it's not a free ticket. But if you have an opportunity, you want to be part of the program, we have opportunities there to do that.
Speaking of that, you brought up a good thing that I was going to bring up, but I kind of forgot about it. Carrizo's, known for their, the tradition of just being a Wildcat. And you're on the helmet. Can you tell us why you chose to go? And I'm not going to say it. I'll let you say it. But when Brian and I saw what you put on the helmet, it kind of, we're like, oh, damn, he's going old school.
Right.
Because nobody says that anymore. But that was the way it was. That phrase was said back in the 80s, back in the 90s, back in the tradition ways.
Right. Well, to me, and it's just part of my DNA, I played at Forney High School, like I've talked about before, and my senior class was the 100th year that we had football. So we started in 1897, and I was a senior in 1997, and that was our 100th year. And so I have a really strong identification with tradition, and it's important to me as the head football coach. I want to have a team that all of the community can be proud of. And I know that everybody will support the kids and they will support the individuals, but I want for the guys like you to show up and say, that's my team and that's like us, And so I think it's important to latch on to things that people in the community can identify with and can kind of hook onto. And again, I've told the kids, it's probably a little bit of a different translation, but to me, it also is a reminder constantly to put the team first. It's the Wildcats that come first. It's not about me. It's not about individuals. It's about the Wildcats first. And so that's kind of a reminder there. And you know, like I said, on my interview, actually, when I was here, we walked around the stadium, the field house, and there's the plaque outside, and I saw that, and I thought, man, that's a cool, I like how that looks. I like how that sounds. And so we wanted to identify with things, like you said. We want people, I like, you know, the response has been pretty strong and pretty good, and that's what we want. We want people to be fired up about the things that we're trying to bring back and get going again. So it's all that wrapped into one, you know. And like I said, I want people that played here. And you wouldn't believe how many people, as I'm sitting in my office in the summer or in the spring, just come by and just want to walk around the place and just want to look at the pictures and look at the trophies and things. And I think that's something we need to tie to. It's,
Coach, go ahead and tell the listeners what it says.
well, why don't you tell us so I don't mess up the pronunciation? You know me, I'm working on it.
I'm gonna put the picture on.
Okay.
He can still tell 'em.
You're going to see in a little bit, but it says Puro Wildcat. So if you've been around the Wildcat, you know, Wildcat Nation in, you know, in the past, or, you know, you may not here recently have heard that, but he's trying to bring tradition back the old ways, you know, not, you know, we all want to win. That's the main goal. But like you said earlier, it's not going to happen overnight, and, you know, we're ready. We're ready for the ride.
Right.
You know, we're all in it for the long haul.
But and again, I think that's the right attitude. And I think that's what it takes. And again, no one wants to win more now, this moment, week one, right now, than me. But at the same time, I think we have to look at things and put things in place to where it's going to be sustainable. It's going to be over the long term. Because what I don't want to do is, even if, let's say that we have a great season this year, and next year it falls right back to hard times again. We want to build something that over many years, it's going to be consistent, a consistent winner, the way that it was. You know, the way that it was back in the 80s and the 90s when you just kind of knew every year playoffs are guaranteed and the district championships are guaranteed, and that's what we're trying to get back to, is that era of kind of dominance.
Since we're going back to the old ways, I mean, you can say no if you want.
Right.
I would hope that you wouldn't, but is there any way, since, you know, Brian helps me up in the press box on Friday nights, is there any way possible that I could get one of these to announce in?
One of those we can absolutely make that happen. We can absolutely make that
You can
Back, Brian. Listeners, we're back, guys.
Absolutely, we can do that 100%. Not
We get fired up in press box too.
Just don't headbutt the windows out of it. That's all I ask. No damage.
Oh, no, we'll be headbutting each other, running the
That's
walls.
fine.
and-
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get it going.
Back, Brian.
Brian and Ernest headbutting each other up in the.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's good. That's good.
Absolutely.
10-4.
Guys, would like to thank everybody for joining us, Coach Abshire and his wife. Big thank y'all. We welcome y'all into the community. If there's anything that any of us can ever do, don't be afraid to ask. We're all in it for the long haul. We don't anticipate going anywhere. We would hope that y'all wouldn't. We're excited about where the program's going and what you've brought to the program in the short amount of time. So with that being said, we'd like to thank the listeners for joining us. Season 4, Episode 1. We have a lot of great things coming up. Don't forget to look for us on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram.
All that stuff.
Maybe
Javelin.
Snapchat.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Sam. You want to do our sponsor rundown
Yeah,
again?
sponsors, once again, we're going to thank Dr. Alfonso Levino with Levino Healthcare. We have our new sponsor, Matthew Sines, with Money Graphics, if you want to peek the shirts. Pretty nice. Smoking D's, the competition barbecue team around town. And, of course, Margie Bar's Barbecue, which is the best barbecue in town.
The
We
caters,
also
he
have the
caters.
Javelin. We have the Javelin, the newspaper, Mr. McDaniel, Miss Claudia McDaniel. You know, so shout out to them. We appreciate what you guys do. Just know that this is for the kids. This is for the Wildcats. And, you know, I'm looking forward to new
We
season.
can't forget, we're sporting last year's.
Yeah.
Boteo, you know,
Boteo
helping
screen
us out
printing.
last year.
Yeah.
Boteo screen printing. We welcome anybody that wants to kind of join in and help sponsor it. It's for a great cause. It's not for us to do anything other than promote Wildcat athletics.
We just use it to
Also,
buy
real quick, I don't know if we
technology
want to bring Mrs. Abshire back in to talk about the card.
Mrs.
Did-
Abshire, you want to do that?
See if we
There
can
is a
get that up.
fundraiser going on, right? A little,
Yes, sir.
I
Absolutely.
got to get that money.
We're
turned
selling Wildcat cards, and on the back side of it, it has several businesses locally. She might be able to give you a better rundown and make sure we don't miss anybody. But basically, the idea is you buy for $20, you buy a card that from now until the end of May, you get to go to I know McDonald's is on there and it has the opportunity to buy a Big Mac. You get a free Big Mac. The same type of deal at Sonic. We've got a barbershop in that other place. I think is located in that other town that we don't talk about. But they still have
he's
a
very
discount
supportive of our athletes. So
Yeah, it's very supportive of our athletes.
5Ds.
5Ds is on it.
yeah, you get a free
Absolutely.
dessert at
Free
5
dessert,
Ds, and
yeah.
that's
5
big.
Ds. So basically, if you buy the Wildcat card and you use it one time, you made your money back. So if you use it more than once, you're ahead and you're making money. So
There you go.
and again, all of our players are selling them. You can find out. I believe we have plans on selling them at the football games and stuff like that. And again, she'll be in charge of a lot of that. So
That's great.
what else? What I forget? What I forget?
Also, real quick, I know that time that you had the moms,
Moms 101.
you were saying that there was caps that you were
Yes.
selling. So I don't know if you want to.
They're gonna have the logo on it, and we have new guide caps coming, and they'll have black on the front, and then they say, it's gonna be the purple embroidery with a yellow embroidery, and I'm not gonna say the word because I've been made fun of everywhere, and like. Basically, it's like that basic white girl is what I've gotten over. So it's okay, but I embrace the culture and just know.
The time will you'll
Yeah,
get it. You'll
I'm
start.
working on it. But in the mirror, in the bathroom, every day, I just keep trying.
You'll be throwing gritos in no time.
So yes, those hats should be in any day now. So.
Right. So we've got some stuff coming and some stuff in the works
Oh, we also have a woman version and a male version. So
of the hats.
And where can everybody get those? They come and see you
Yeah,
here
just
at the
come on
field house?
in.
Yes, sir.
They're $20, I think, $25?
they're $20 to have.
$20.
Nice.
So
Good price.
come and support the program. Look for a football player if you have a football player or they're your neighbors or something like that. Help the program out. $20 card. Go help support the local businesses. Also come by the field house, pick up your cap. We haven't gotten our free ones yet from Coach, but I know they're coming.
Absolutely, they're on the way. As you said, they're in the mail. They're in the mail.
You'll get them tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. So.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
I do know that we have some people who are working up some logos to match the helmets. They won't be exactly as the helmet because I know the football players have told me one thing is that there's times where they feel like they don't have their own thing that they have that sets them apart from everybody else. So we want to make sure that they have that thing that makes them special. But at the same time, we want you to feel like you're a part of our team, that every single person, it takes a village. And so, I mean,
Absolutely.
If you sell the mini helmets or some people that.
oh my gosh, great idea.
Those would sell like crazy.
I'll be back. I gotta go.
I'm telling you.
She's gonna go check for that.
They look
right
like
now.
that. I'll buy one quick.
Absolutely. That's a great
All right.
idea.
That's a beautiful color.
That's a great
Except
idea.
it's like Alabama on this side. I don't know about that.
That's exactly who
With
we
the
want.
number like that.
I'm not a Bama fan, but like I was telling Mrs. Abshire, a lot of people around here don't have a problem with Alabama because of the A is the Cheto A.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually,
So it's and the same color too.
that and they beat up on Texas A&M, so that's good too.
Maybe soon
That's a
you
plan.
can
Keep that
convert.
going. Keep that going for sure. For sure.
That's good.
You ought to rain sunshine today.
Oh, wait, sorry. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. Sunday. I gotta go to work.
Can we hold his head underwater for just a little while? This guy?
Anyway.
Once again, everybody would like to thank y'all for joining us. Good podcast. Good night.